morning everybody, welcome back to the channel. A couple of weeks ago I did an aluminium inlay, and at the same time when I bought the aluminium I also bought some copper powder. This is pure 100% copper, ground to a very fine powder. Now the aluminium I set in with a resin, but the copper I'm going to use a slightly different technique to get it into the bowl. The aluminium was set into the middle, but this copper I'm going to sit into the rim of a nice beach bowl. So it should be a nice contrast. It should be interesting to do. Not 100% certain how it's going to turn out, but we'll give it a go. Right, let's get this mounted. Can't see any imperfections or anything like that. Just cut the recess and we can start sanding. Okay, right, we're ready for sanding. Put the face mask on. There we are. Right, I didn't make you sit through all that. We went up to 600 grit, and it's like I said many times before, it's not the most exciting thing to watch. So anyway, up to 600. I'm going to give it a quick clean with alcohol, get any dust off the surface or in the grains of the beautiful beach. You know, beech is the most commonly used tree for people to carve their initials in. It's mainly to do with it has a relatively smooth bark. It's not like oak or sycamore or anything like that. It has a very gnarly bark. The bark of the beech is very smooth. It's very smooth, so it's easy to carve. Therefore, the most used. Right, just let that sit for a couple of seconds, and then we'll seal it and polish it. I mean, that's just a 600 sanding and a bit of sealer, and it's already got quite a high shine on it. Right, just put a bit of Hampshire sheen on, just to help protect the wood. Right, after this we're going to turn it around, hollow it out, and then cut in a recess where we can apply the brass powder. Okay, that will do that. It's just silky smooth. Right, we'll get it taken off the lathe. I've got fingerprints all over it. Now, because we're using CA glue or super glue, depending where you're from, to set this brass, I want to seal the inside here, just because the CA glue can quite easily seep through the walls quite quickly, so especially with the kind of quantity we're going to be using, so I'd prefer that not to happen. So I'm going to seal it with the cellulose sealer, and that'll hopefully stop. It'll try and make a nice barrier for it to get through. There we go. We'll leave it on the chuck, but take it off the lathe. You can't pour brass in when it's at that angle. Right, I've got what I need. Got my little spoon for dishing this in. Some thin super glue, and of course the powdered brass. I'll put a sheet of paper underneath just to catch any excess that falls off, so I can reuse it at another time. I want it to settle and fill the gaps, so if we just apply a sat in a recess, if I just take it back over there. Right, now we're going to drip in. I'm sure you can still see. Yep. I'm going to put super glue in and saturate. That's not saturating. It is, but not as quickly as it should be. Looks like not all super glues are made equal. I think the tamping down seems to have created a barrier on the surface, and as soon as it gets past that barrier, then as you can see we're alright. More super glue on my shopping list. But this isn't what I expected to happen. But right, we'll give that a second to settle in. Then any obviously dry areas like that one will come back and we'll refill. If you do this yourself, make sure you do it in a well ventilated area because the fumes coming off the super glue are quite strong. At this moment in time, I'm thinking this has got a 50-50 chance of working. Right, well there we are. I've had to drip a fair amount of glue on top of it over the last few hours, but most of it now is just sitting on top, so I'm going to hit it with a bit of activator spray just to settle what's there, and then we can start turning the rest. That should do it. That should set it all within a few 30 seconds or so. Right, we'll do that and then we'll get it back on the lathe. I'll see you in a second. Okay, we're on the lathe. This is going to be interesting. It could be abject failure, or it could be amazing, or it could be any variation in between. So, well, let's discover together. Well, I'll find out first because I'll see it first, but I'm sure you will be able to see it very soon. Right, I'm going to start off with a carbide to take off this rough surface. We'll see what's underneath. I'm going to go very carefully. Not sure if you caught that on the camera, but Yeah, there's some puffs of dust came off, so where it hasn't been fully set. Let's carry on. Obviously been a few air pockets or something like that underneath, so I'm going to go down a bit further so I can open them up. I mean, we've got a little hole there, but I can see from this angle it goes a lot deeper, so I want to try and open up as much as I can to make the voids easier to fill. Right. I think we can call it a failure. Or even an abject failure. But that's quite fun. It's just obvious that the glue didn't go deep enough into the copper to be able to set it all thoroughly. So that's not a problem. Well, it is a problem because we're not going to be able to do the brass. So what we're going to do is go back to the same method I used on the... Oh, that was fun. Like that. We'll go back to the same method I used on the Deathly Hallows bowl. And I'm going to mix up some resin and then pour it in the same way I did that one. Mixing the resin with the powder 100 grams. Sorry, on a 1-to-1 basis. If I'm doing 50 grams of resin, you put in 50 grams of powder. Right, I'm going to quickly clean this up and then I'll bring you back when I've poured the resin. If you want to see how the resin's poured and what you do with that, then just going to take a quick look at the Deathly Hallows bowl, and that'll tell you everything you need to know. Right, so it's 48 hours to cure, so hopefully this is going to work slightly better than the first attempt. Now we do have a slight issue where once I took the other out and cleaned out the hole, I forgot to reapply sealer, and you can see where the resin has come through the walls, so we're going to have to see what we can do to sort that. Whether or not we end up colouring the inside, I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. So anyway, let's see how this resin's taken effect. One thing I noticed when I first put it on, that it's lost a bit of its shape. That's purely because it's been sat for 48 hours. As you know, woods are prone to change, especially when you hollow it out. It's going to move, so we'll have to reshape the inside of the bowl. Nothing we can do about the outside. We don't necessarily want to touch the outside, but we'll have to do something with the inside. I think when because I used like a 1-to-1 weight ratio with the powder and the resin, I think some of the powder has settled. So you can see that's a different colour to this. So I think that's the darker green is a lower concentration of powder, and that's the higher concentration. So we're going to turn it down until we get all that colour, and then we'll see what it looks like from there. Okay, we're getting through it. I can definitely see a shine starting in this area, so that's good. Right, now, if you look carefully at the rim, because the wall thickness wasn't the same, and now we've got a wobble on it, so we're getting narrower parts to the wider parts because it's not quite sitting as flush as it once was. So as I turn this to get the rest of this down, this actually may go down to the surface, but it is what it is. We'll see how excuse me, I'll see how it goes. Okay, nearly there, just a little bit on there and there. This narrower bit, we'll class it as a feature. I think we're on for some very interesting sanding. Right, I'll get set up. I'll bring you back in a second. As usual, I'll not make you sit through all the sanding, so I'm going to carry on with this like this for the next 20-30 minutes, and I'll bring you back after that. Right, we've got up to 600. And that's done an absolutely beautiful job. That is silky smooth. So we're going to give it a quick clean with our isopropyl alcohol. And we'll put some polish on. Now, because this bowl, with being beach, is quite suitable for putting sweets in and stuff like that, I'm not going to put anything on there which could be dangerous to health. So I'm just going to finish it off with some Hampshire sheen. Really doesn't need any more than that. Put a bit of that on the outside as well, just to freshen it up a little bit. I've learned quite a bit from this process. We now know that all glues are not made equal. I see a lot of YouTubers use the Star Bond, which is quite hard and expensive to get hold of in England, so I may have to look into different types if I'm going to use that method again. The resin inside, sorry, using resin to mix with the brass powder certainly has gone very, very well. It's only a couple of mistakes, like me not cutting it evenly, or mainly because the bowls moved so much while I've been waiting to turn it again. But apart from that, the resin worked really well, and I think I'll definitely have a go with that in the future. But I will do some more experimentations with the glue, the super glue. Right, let's get this polished. Beech takes the polish so absolutely beautifully. Just one last final go over with another cloth just to make sure there's no polish left on there. It's clean. take this off and have a closer look. And there we have it. Copper, resin inlay, and a beach bowl. Right, I'm going to do some close-up shots of this and leave them at the end. Apart from that, thank you very much indeed for joining us once again, and hopefully see you next time. Thank you. Bye.